Hello and welcome to 7 Days of Science. We're currently filming on location in Lyme Regis, a paleontologically very significant town on the south coast of England, where many of the first fossils of prehistoric reptiles that were scientifically recognised were found. In the headlines this week, a new species of prehistoric human relative has been recognised in South Africa, the oldest dinosaur from North America has been uncovered, a new species of mosasaur has been named, and much, much more. Our top story this week is the recognition of a new species of prehistoric human relative. This species lived about 1.4 million years ago and is known from a fossilised mandible uncovered in South Africa. The mandible was actually first discovered back in 1949, and since then it's been identified as a few different kinds of ancient human relative. Firstly, it was given the name Paranthropus capensis, but later on scientists thought it might be from Homo erectus instead. In this new study, researchers have x-rayed the mandible to closely examine the structure of the bone and teeth, revealing that actually the mandible most closely matches the anatomy of Paranthropus. Paranthropus are the so-called robust Australopithecines, relatives of human ancestors that had very strongly built skulls with prominent crests that anchored powerful jaw muscles. These hominins would have coexisted with some of our oldest ancestors in Africa, and they're a fascinating branch of our evolutionary tree. Before now, 3 species of Paranthropus had been recognised, but this mandible has now been classified as a 4th new species, Paranthropus capensis. The researchers state this species would have been a more gracile Paranthropus compared to the other more robust ones, as it had much smaller teeth. They hypothesise that this species may have diverged from other Paranthropus species before 2 million years ago, at a time when Paranthropus fossils in general show much more variation in the size and robustness of their bones. It's a very interesting new development, adding to the known diversity of these remarkable hominins in southern Africa. Hopefully, more complete specimens of Paranthropus capensis will be recognised in future. Also in the news this week, paleontologists have uncovered a rather remarkable dinosaur trackway site in England. A week-long excavation in June of 2024 at a quarry located in Oxfordshire revealed extensive dinosaur footprints stretching for hundreds of metres. These footprints date back to the Middle Jurassic, some 166 million years ago. 4 sets of the track were made by enormous long-necked sauropod dinosaurs, while one trackway was created by a carnivorous theropod dinosaur, and at one point the carnivore footprints cross over a sauropod track, hinting at possible interactions between these dinosaurs. Although there's no way to say for certain which species made them, the age of the prints indicate they might have been produced by the sauropod Cetiosaurus and the theropod Megalosaurus, very historically significant species, with Megalosaurus being the first dinosaur species that was scientifically described back in 1824. Many photos were taken of the tracks so they can be digitally reconstructed, and they offer some fascinating insights into the lives of these dinosaurs during the Jurassic. Some more good dinosaur news next, as a new specimen of the famous Archaeopteryx has been announced. Archaeopteryx is a Jurassic Age species known from fossils found in Germany, and it played a key role in establishing the evolutionary link between dinosaurs and birds. In May of last year, the Chicago Field Museum revealed that they had purchased the 13th known specimen of Archaeopteryx, and now the 14th one has been revealed. This specimen isn't as complete as some of the other ones, preserving just the right forelimbs and shoulder girdle, plus some other limb fragments. But its bone anatomy matches that of Archaeopteryx, so the researchers suggest it's probably another example of this dinosaur. So that's 2 new Archaeopteryx specimens already this decade. Not bad at all. The exciting dinosaur news continues next, as the oldest known dinosaur ever found in North America has just been announced. This is a new species called, This new species is called Ahvaytum bahndooiveche. Was it? We'll come for it. Which comes from the Shoshone for long ago dinosaur, and it dates back to around 230 million years ago during the late Triassic period. Although it's only known from a couple of pieces of limb bone, they display characteristic features of sauropodomorph dinosaurs. So this was likely an early relative of the long-necked sauropods. Ahvaytum is incredibly significant, since it was found in a formation in Wyoming which would have been an equatorial region of the supercontinent Pangaea back in the Triassic. Up until now, the oldest dinosaurs had only ever been found in parts of the world that made up the southern areas of the supercontinents, leading to suggestions that dinosaurs as a whole originated in the far south and were then restricted from spreading further across the world for many millions of years due to climatic barriers. But this new discovery now shows that dinosaurs had indeed dispersed further north far earlier than we thought. A very exciting new discovery, revealing a lot more about the origins of this wonderful group of reptiles. A new species of mosasaur has also just been named. This species was uncovered in rocks from Morocco, dating to the very end of the Cretaceous period, just before the infamous mass extinction event 66 million years ago. It's been called Carinodens acrodon, and it's known from 3 pieces of jaw plus teeth. 2 other species of Carinodens can already be found in these Moroccan rocks, but this third new species differs from these others in the shape of its teeth. All species of Carinodens had teeth that were adapted for crushing hard-shelled prey items, being low, rectangular in shape and quite flat from side to side. But the newly named Carinodens acrodon also had some features that were relatively primitive compared to the other known species, suggesting that a more primitive part of this particular mosasaur lineage had survived to the very end of the Cretaceous period alongside its more derived or advanced relatives. The new species therefore adds to what the scientists term as hyperdiversity of mosasaurs in Morocco right at the end of the Cretaceous, which they say was home to at least 16 recognised species of mosasauroid. Up next in the news, archaeologists have analysed a new type of hearth structure built by Neanderthals in Gibraltar. Found within the Vanguard cave, this structure has been dated to between 68,000 and 61,000 years old. While it has been known for quite some time that Neanderthals created and utilised fire, with even earlier human species than Neanderthals able to make it, this study posits that the Neanderthals living in the region used this specific structure for more than warmth and light. The hearth structure was covered in a layer of guano and sand, creating an anoxic environment ideal for producing tar during the burning of plant material. The team tested their hypothesis by building a replica analogue of the structure and burning a large amount of leaves from the rock rose plant, a flowering plant that grows in the nearby area. By covering these plants in a layer that cut off a large amount of oxygen, once burnt, the leaves broke down into enough tar to haft 2 spearheads into shafts. It's been known that Neanderthals used tar to produce their tools and weapons for some time. So by providing evidence for a way they were able to utilise this technique using only local materials, sheds further light on how resourceful our closest extinct relatives really were. Also in the news, a team of archaeologists have determined that lead pollution in the atmosphere likely caused a widespread cognitive decline in ancient Romans. Lead exposure is known to be responsible for a range of health impacts, with even low levels being known to impact the cognitive development of children. This new research expands on that knowledge, looking at the health impacts on people over 2,000 years ago. The archaeologists examined evidence from lead isotopes in 3 ice cores to identify pollution levels between 2,500 years ago and 1,600 years ago, a time frame that spans the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Arctic ice cores have previously been used to identify atmospheric pollution and periods of lead pollution in the Roman Empire, but this is the first study to assess how it may have affected the European population. The team used advanced modelling of atmospheric movement to produce maps of European lead poisoning, and then this, coupled with research into the cognitive effects of lead poisoning, allowed the team to estimate a likely IQ reduction of at least 2 to 3 points. A truly remarkable study, and the first to look into the human effects of lead poisoning in the Roman Empire. Hopefully the first study of many more to come. Also in the news this week, a study has been published detailing the results of an advanced computer simulation of the start of the relationship between Pluto and its moon, Charon. There was a particular focus on simulating the body's structural integrity based on the materials they are made of. It has been thought that Charon had been formed in a very similar way to the way that our own moon formed, but the simulation showed different results. It showed a so-called kiss and capture scenario where the two bodies were fused together for a time, looking a little bit like a giant snowman. Charon has been an object of great interest to astronomers because it is a very unusually large moon, being half Pluto's size and 12% of its mass. It retained much of its structural integrity in this scenario, which could suggest that Charon is about as ancient as its host planet. This new study could also help us to get a better picture of how other satellite orbits and binary systems formed around our solar system, and could point to this particular scenario being much more common than previously thought. Up next, some sad news about an orca. A southern resident orca inhabiting the eastern Pacific called Trackway came to the world's attention in 2018 when she carried her dead calf with her for 17 days. Sadly, she has once again lost a female calf and has again been observed swimming with her on her head. Experts observing the calf in its early days expressed concern about its health, but hoped that Trackway, an experienced mother, would be able to keep her alive. It is a sad blow to lose any calf from this endangered population of orcas, but the fact that it is a female is particularly devastating, as there are only 23 breeding females out of a dwindling population of 73. There is a concern for Trakway's welfare, as the drag in the water due to carrying her calf will mean that she will be expending a significant amount of extra energy. She is, however, still keeping up with the rest of her group. Trackway is part of a pod of orcas known as J-pod, and at the same time as this sad news was reported, it was also observed that J-pod had another newborn calf. It was not possible to verify the calf's mother, as it was travelling with multiple females at the time of the encounter, and the calf's sex has also yet to be determined. But the calf appeared to be physically fit and behaving normally. Hopefully this newest member of the pod will live long and prosper. Well, that's it for the news this week. I really hope you enjoyed learning about everything that's happened in these last 7 days of science. Be sure to follow our 7 Days of Science Instagram account, and you can follow me at Miss Emilia Evans. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye guys.